Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I give all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak with us. Double honors under the elders, Apostle Green Millstone. The elders Green Millstone in their course. Peace and blessings under the hopeful elect. The sincere servants of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, servant in truth and sincerity. Yes, surrounded by the Chayaba from G Men's Plain Tables Camp. Coming back with another lesson through spirit. So this lesson be based off this article from nationalnews.com, which is entitled Digital IDs, a convenient future or an invitation to surveillance. And as you can see this picture right here. So read it says that the adoption of digital driver's license and enforcement of the real ID standard has sparked a heated debate between convenience and privacy. Critics fear federal overreach and erosion of individual liberties, while supporters argue digital IDs are essential for security in a digitized world. Over 20 states, including California, Arizona, and Virginia, now offer digital driver's licenses integrated into mobile wallets. Proponents cite global trends and convenience, but privacy advocates warn of a trajectory toward increased federal control and surveillance. It says the Real ID Act, initially aimed at standardizing ID security post 9/11, has expanded in scope, raising constitutional concerns. Critics argue it enables federal overreach, with the Department of Homeland Security granted broad authority over ID usage. Yeah, and obviously we heard about this Real ID thing, or this act pretty much. But even in Pennsylvania, they're pushing it. I believe in this May, if you don't have a digital, or if you don't have a real ID, you won't be able to travel. So we see exactly where this is heading to, man. We understand the elites, Esau, Edom, or of course the elites of Esau, starting with, we already know, banking families, the ones all the way at the top. This is what they want. Why? Because it introduces, or because it brings control. It says, while some lawmakers advocate, read this real quick. It says, critics highlight fears of real-time federal access to personal data through digital IDs, with concerns over smartphone integration enabling government control over devices. Yeah, you won't be able to access your phone without pretty much these digital IDs. It says, blockchain technology and digital ID systems are seen as tools for surveillance-based technocracy, potentially coercing compliance with policies like VE mandates. Yeah, you see the word right there. It says, while some lawmakers advocate for digital IDs to combat fraud and AI-driven impersonation, others resist federal encroachment. States like Idaho and Texas are considering bills to block federal mandates, while Illinois pushes for digitization by 2026. This tension underscores a broader struggle to balance innovation with privacy and limited government. There you have it, and we know exactly where they want to go to. Ultimately, what? They're going to introduce... Ultimately, what? We know the end goal of Esau, Edom, which, of course, is to mandate the mark of the beast that the scriptures speak about within Revelation chapter 13 and 16. Read it real quick. It says, Revelation chapter 13 and 16, and he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So it's going to come to the point where it says that he caused all, meaning he's going to mandate it upon everybody to take this mark. What is mark? Of course, according to the Greek, it means a physical stamp. It means a physical stamp as a badge of servitude. So it's going to be a badge of servitude onto pretty much the oppressors. You know, the ones who, of course, oppress, starting with the so-called blacks, Native Americans, Latinos, the real biblical Israelites. They're after us, first and foremost. And they want to have complete control over us. How will they have complete control over us? By the way of that mark. Of course, when you go into that word for mark within the Greek, is a Greek word chragma, again, which means a physical stamp, i.e. as a badge of servitude, also a scratch or etching. So it's going to be something that's etched or scratched. So it's clearly something that's physical. It's going to be a stamp as a badge of servitude. So Esau will have to identify you based off of that badge. And what, of course, so we know, and also it says verse 17, and that no man, and by the way, this mark is going to be something that's either put into the right hand or into the forehead. It says, and that no man might bar or sell except he that had a mark or the name of the beast or the number of his names. So you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have this mark. So what is put into the right hand or into the forehead, and what grants you access, or pretty much what has access to buy and sell? What mark could this possibly be? And obviously this matches up onto the RFID implant. That's exactly what it is. Let's go ahead and look up, because, or what's simply the chip. Could it use, again, as the elder Apostle Har said, it could be even smaller, but, or, you know, when Esau mandates it, was very, very near. But the point is that this is the device, as big as a grain of rice. That right there is a mark of the beast. This right here grants Esau full control over you. We see the Neuralink has the capability to scan the mind, to literally read your thoughts, to influence your thoughts, to control your thoughts, to control your actions. And what pretty much that grants Esau full monitoring and tracking capability over your whole entire body, over your mind. So this is where it's headed with Elon Musk. Obviously, he's set up by the elite. To push for their agenda, which is to introduce a mark of the beast system. Ultimately, it's going to be the NWO. If you don't take it, you won't be a part of it. For 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and 11, these saints should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Yeah, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Devices meaning schemes, plans, tactics. We understand why he likes Esau, the so-called white man. Starting with the elites of Esau, the bankers, banking families, the elite banking families. We understand why they love, or pretty much why they like to inch closer and closer onto their agenda. If they just throw it out there, mandate the mark of the beast immediately, obviously there would be, there will be too strong of a rebellion. So as they like to do, they like to inch closer and closer. I believe, the one saying, if you throw, or pretty much a frog or toad into, or, you leave it within a boiling pot of water, or, if you put in a pot of water and then you turn on the stove, and then obviously the temperature is going to get slowly onto a boiling point, which the frog won't detect. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's a frog, that they use to bring out that analogy. But the same thing they do with the people. They turn up the heat slowly and slowly, and by the time they reach where they want to reach, the people are already complying. Why? Because they're already conditioned to accept it. And that's exactly what Esau wants to do with the mark of the beast. What the scriptures say, the elect will not take it. So, we're not ignorant of, again, Esau bringing in these digital IDs and real ID acts. We understand the ultimate digital ID that they want is going to be based within the mark of the beast, the chip. Revelation chapter 3 and 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word, this Yahushua speaking this red letter, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Keeping the word of the Lord's patience, meaning enduring within the truth, doing the will of Yahweh Bashmi Shai, 100%. Doing what he said to do, keeping his commandments. And while believing on Yahweh Bashmi Shai in 100% truth and sincerity, those are going to be, ultimately that's going to be the elect, because the elect will endure unto the end, which of course as brothers hope to be a part of, or part of the hopeful elect. It says, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them and dwell upon earth. The hour of temptation is when Esau mandates the mark. So it's going to come upon all the world to try them and dwell upon earth, because the Lord is going to use this as a trial and as a test to see which ones are really servants, true servants unto him. To see which ones are, really, actually real servants unto him. It says, which shall come upon all the world to try them and dwell upon the earth. Yeah, again, this is going to tempt everybody. You won't be able to bar, so within realms of this society, you won't be able to get food, buy water, have a job, have a business, because you're not going to be able to sell anything. You won't be able to have a business, pay your bills, so on. So pretty much you're going to be outcast. But guess what? Esau doesn't decide whether or not, just because he decides food and water, or pretty much you won't be able to bar sell within society. Within his society, does not mean that we're not going to have access to food and water. Why? Because Yahweh Bashmi Shai is the one who controls everything. And the Lord decides whether or not the elect is taken care of, which the elect will be taken care of. Will keep us fed, taken care of, and protect us and help us navigate within these times. Because you understand Esau is going to come down like a madman sparing none. If it's going to come to a point where, again, there's going to be rebellion, there will be rebellion still. People will resist to take it. And it's going to come to a point where even though Esau mandates you won't be able to bar or sell, people are going to rebel. So what is he going to do? He's going to send out his martial law and pretty much tempts you with death, concentration camps, the guillotine, torturing, or whatever. Ultimately, we understand Yahweh Bashmi Shai will keep us taken care of. And if we have to be martyrs, then so be it. Yahweh Bashmi Shai will put the spirit upon the elect to endure whatever. Of course, our hope is to make it out so that we see Yahushua. And of course, the martyrs, they're gonna be the first ones with Yahushua. But our hope, of course, is to make it onto the end, to see Yahushua coming back in his glory. And to be changed. And of course, again, the martyrs will be changed either way. But yeah, I believe it's a point. Point is that we're not ignorant. We understand where this is leading to. And we understand ultimately that the implementation of the mark of the beast is very, very soon and is at the door. So Lord's will you blessed, edified. Yahweh Bashmi Shai, Shalom.